Greetings, everyone, and welcome. Today, I want to update you a little bit on the upcoming American election, but not so much from the American viewpoint. As you know, we are massive supporters of Ukraine here. We do our best to share truth, to raise funds, to support civilians and military. We do our best to translate so that you guys can understand what is happening in Ukraine, in Russia, and in other places of the world. We're trying to share truth here on this platform. I do not want to come today and share with you an American viewpoint. We understand what is happening. Tomorrow, a historic election will take place between Kamala Harris and Donald J. Trump. It is not only history making for the United States, but it will prove to be history making for the entire world. The world is in, could we say, one of the most unique situations it's ever been in world history. I think for sure we're there. So we will be watching that tomorrow. We will be talking about it. We will be seeing what the fallout will be. Will we have a result tomorrow night in the United States? Maybe. It may be into Wednesday before we know, most likely, but we shall see. But I have a question for you. What does Russia really think about the American election? You may be there today and say, Greg, I don't care what Russia thinks about the American election. I understand your sentiment if that is your response, but for me, trying to share with you truth about Ukraine and Russia and other places, you need to understand what Russia's position is on the American election. Because we all often hear tampering, meddling, propaganda, money. Who does the Kremlin really want in office? I'm here to share with you today, I don't think the Kremlin cares who gets in the office. You may disagree with that, and that is okay. But I personally believe that Vladimir Putin is all in. Xi Jinping is all in. Kim Jong-un is all in. Iran is all in. On the other side, it is looking like Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel is all in. The question is Europe, and specifically, on a much larger scale, the United States, all in? This game is being played by Russia now to push the pawns around. And the message coming out of the Kremlin right now is, we don't care who becomes president. I want to share with you 5 different statements that were made by Dmitri Medvedev. Really interesting here. If you do not know, the root name, the family name there of Medvedev, Medved actually translates bear in Russian language. So he feels like he's a bold, mighty bear when he speaks. Many people laugh off Dmitri Medvedev. In fact, there are many jokes. Oh, he's just drunk on vodka and he's just talking. My dear friends, do not laugh off Dmitri Medvedev. That is a mistake. Dmitri Medvedev, the former president of Russia, he exchanged that role between prime minister and president with Vladimir Putin when they were adjusting the laws so that Putin could come back into power. Look it up. It's in the history books. Additionally, Dmitri Medvedev right now is the vice chairman of the Russian Security Council, which means basically security for the nation of Russia, war, defense for the nation of Russia. You'll say, well, why do we need to listen to the guy? He's the deputy. he's the vice. Why do you listen to him? Because you need to know who is the chairman, who is the top dog. Of course, it's the dictator, Vladimir Putin. So my friends, I suggest to you, when you see news about Medvedev, yes, he goes on these crazy rants. Yes, he can be bonkers. But if he is dropping out information a day or two before the American election, we need to pay attention to it, and we need to listen to it, at least for observation and understanding. So that is what I want to share with you, 5 things. These are direct quotes from Dmitri Medvedev. I'm calling this the Kremlin view on the USA election. You can see up there Kamala Harris, Donald Trump, below that Vladimir Putin, and on the right, if you do not know or you have not seen the picture, that is Dmitri Medvedev. By the way, he's still a pretty young fellow. It's just a little side note here. So when people say, oh, if Putin went away, then everything will be okay. No, Medvedev is even worse in the ideology that is so ingrained in that Kremlin, KGB, USSR narrative among that team. So, what did Dmitri Medvedev say? He said, the world is frozen in awkward postures in the run-up to the election of the president of overseas Pindostan. You say, oh, okay, Greg, I've never heard of that word, Pindistan. Well, folks, that is a derogatory statement for American citizens. It's just a derogatory statement. So here we have him already saying, the world's frozen right now watching this. And while they're frozen, we're just continuing to make agreements with North Korea, with China. We're continuing to expand our agreements with Iran. We're continuing to do an all out, and it is, guys, an all out offensive and assault on the southern and southeastern fronts of Ukraine while the world is frozen watching Pindistan. Pay attention. He says, we have no reason for any inflated expectations. 5 statements he makes. Number 1, the election will change nothing for Russia. I actually agree with that. Russia's all in. United States, are we all in? The election will change nothing for Russia, as the candidates' positions fully reflect the bipartisan consensus that our country must be defeated. He's pretty accurate on that. And right now, that is the message coming out, one way or the other. Russia must be defeated. He says, so it doesn't matter to us who gets in. Number 2, I'm just quoting, guys. This is not my opinion, okay? Not my opinion. Kamala is not intelligent, inexperienced, easily led, and will be afraid of everyone around her. She will be led by her top government officials, plus indirectly, the Obama family will rule. Once again, the Russian propaganda narrative pushing out that the Obamas are behind everything and they're controlling the United States and controlling the world. The same narratives that the Bushes are behind everything. All of these cabals, all of these secret meetings. Guys, listen. Do former presidents stay involved in politics? Yes. Do they have opinions? Do they have, they're always called Mr. President. And I say Mr. because we have not had a female elected yet, but they're always that term, that honor that is given to that office. Do they stay involved in some way or form? Sure. But it's the Russian narrative of propaganda pushing behind the scenes. Oh, Obama's running the world. Oh, Bushes are running the world. That is what happens, and you can see it leak out right here. This is the second point and the Russian viewpoint. You may ask, well, is this Putin's viewpoint? Absolutely, 100%. If Medvedev is speaking this directly on 5 topics about the American election, I'm telling you, Putin is signed off. Number 3, he now speaks about Trump. He calls him a jaded Trump, spouting platitudes like, I'll offer a deal, and I have a great relationship with Putin and Xi. Folks, these are the direct statements that Donald Trump has made. They're listening. He says he will also be forced to comply with all the systemic rules. He then makes point blank statement, which I completely agree with. He can't stop the war. Not in a day, not in 3 days, not in 3 months. And unfortunately, he then states, and if he really tries, he could be the new JFK. Of course, propaganda, pushing the alarm bells, pushing just information to unsettle the world. It may not unsettle you if you're an American here watching, but it unsettles others as they're looking at this. This is the Russian viewpoint. Number 4, he states only one thing matters. How much money the new POTUS, President of the United States, will spend on someone else's faraway war. How much money will it spend on its own military-industrial complex? How much money can we force the United States to lose in support of Ukraine? You know, it's the same argument that many times the West is using. We can break the back of Russia economically. We can destroy them with sanctions. They're thinking the same things. You may not want to hear this stuff today, but this is how you get a full education and understanding of how Russia is viewing the American election. This is accurate, my friends. They also are trying to defeat the United States. They are also trying to defeat the West. The 5th and final statement that Medvedev made is in regard to tomorrow, November the 5th. He said, therefore, the best way to make the 5th of November pleasant for the candidates for the highest American office is, and this is the one I hate, but you need to hear it, is to continue our strategy in destroying the regime in Kyiv and Ukraine. At the end of the day, my friends, I truly believe that Russia does not care who gets in the office of President of the United States. I know on the outside, if you're here and you're watching, you're an American, you may say, well, this president, this candidate will be better. This candidate will be better. This candidate supports Ukraine more. This candidate is an idiot and thinks he can end the war in 24 hours. I get it. I get it and completely agree. But I'm here to tell you, Russia doesn't care because they are all in. It's time for the world to wake up. It's time for us to understand that this is not just some little regional breakout war and everybody's going to take their tanks and go home. There is a massive coalition building in the East, and it continues to get stronger every day, while we so often here in the West are so focused on this election, so focused on Europe, while we are trickle feeding Ukraine. This must stop. And I really pray and hope that tomorrow's election will be the trigger that will release a massive support and a mindset change and understanding that Ukraine must be victorious and Russia must be defeated, not only on the battlefield, but the Kremlin must fall as well. Thank you for being here. Thank you for liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. I appreciate all of you. As you know, if you're a subscriber to my channel, I'm traveling right now. My video drops are crazy. My lives are on different times, but I appreciate you. Be blessed. And if you're an American, go vote. Have a great day.